Now, how many years later did you go to Hawaii? How old were you?
I came when I was 11, 12, around that time. Um, that was, yeah. My mother wanted me to come earlier, but then there was no permission granted to come. But finally, it was granted around 6 years later. So then I was able to come. But I came to Hawaii, where my grandparents and Yabiku grandparents were, and my aunt and uncle. But my mother and sister had already moved to Los Angeles at that time, but I stayed in Hawaii for a few months, living with my aunt in Kauai, and went to school for about 3 months there.
Now, what kind of passport did you come
I
with?
came on Ryukyu passport. It was issued by Ryukyu government under U.S. occupied. So.
Now, once Okinawa reverted to Japan in 1972, do they still issue the Ryukyu passports?
No, it's
Japanese,
a Japanese passport.
Now, when you received permission to travel to Hawaii, your grandmother went as your Oshiro grandmother went as far as Tokyo with you. Now, you had a Nisei uncle stationed in Tokyo from Hawaii. How did so since they were from Hawaii, how did they prepare you for your trip to Hawaii?
Well, they just they told me, Hawaii is going to be, because it was winter in Tokyo, very cold. So they said, okay, it's going to be much hotter in Hawaii. So Hawaii, so it was. It's going to be different from Japan and all that, but it wasn't too much that they had to, really tell me about. But as far as English and anything like that, nothing that they've taught. So they encourage, you have to learn English right away to communicate with anybody. So that was, my uncle, but actually that's my mother's cousin. One and only cousin they have.
Now, you're traveling by yourself. Were you scared? Were you excited? What were you feeling?
I don't remember as being scared, but half maybe excited, but I wasn't scared at all. But there was a lady who was going to Oklahoma, and my uncle had talked to her and to the airline, so they sat me right next to her because and then and from there I was on my own, but it was 20 hours. I remember 10 hours we fueled in Wake Island, and my uncle told me, okay, when you reach Wake, there's a bus there and you'll be taken to this place, and you have breakfast there, and so bus was like a tram was waiting there, and we went to. In fact, that Wake Island, that's about the building I remember had in that whole island. So we had breakfast there, and then got on, and another 10 hours to Hawaii, and when we reached Hawaii, I thought, oh, it was beautiful because, all the leis that I got, and as you drive out of airport, you see all these lei huts just lying next to, stand next to each other, and had. Every place was lighted, so I was so excited. I was asking Uncle what those are, so he said that was the place that they sell the lei. So and then when I went to my uncle's place, they had all these food. I guess now I think about it was, I mean, Japanese American food, but it was something very new to me, like potato salad and all those things. So now.
So you stayed in Honolulu for one night before going to Kauai with your to be with Yabiku grandparents. Now in Kauai, were there a lot of Okinawans in the community?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, our neighbor, there were a few, but yes, they did, because while I was there, was that the time or the next time? Yeah, might have been there. I remember dancing at some Okinawa Shinenkai there, so.
But
yeah.
not at that time.
Yeah, might have been at that time. Yeah. So that, because I had just, came in, my father was excited that I knew dancing, so was some place that I had danced just to show them. So maybe it wasn't Shinenkai, maybe it was just a family gathering there. But yeah.
What was the dominant prefecture?
I would think it's Hiroshima, because at school when I was going there were Japanese kids. Knew that I had just come from Japan, and they tried to speak to me little Japanese, and I couldn't really understand them. So I went home and I asked my aunt, and she said, okay, this is what that means. So I said, why is it different? She said, because they were mostly Hiroshima dialect. So I think in Hawaii there's a lot of Japanese are from Hiroshima. Hiroshima was dominant.
Now, when you were living in Kauai, what did you feel about, having come to Hawaii?
Oh, they have electricity, and the stove. You don't have to use the wood to cook, and you have a bath. You can take a bath every day. Those, daily just routine was very special to me.
Now, you stayed in Kauai for 3 months, and then you flew to LAX, and then you were reunited with your mother and sister. What was that like?
In the beginning, it was a little strange, because I hadn't, seen mother for a long time. So only way I remember was, by pictures. So, but yeah, it was. Yeah, my sister, we, as a children, we got close very fast. But with my mother, I kind of had to get used to it. So, yeah.
Actually, I think I skipped a little. Let's. Can you explain to us why your mother was in Southern California?
Oh, okay. My mother was the last job she had in Hawaii was she was working for a doctor's family, and she said it was in the Tantalus area of Honolulu. And the doctor's family was moving back to mainland, and they asked my mother, if you would promise to work for us a year, that they will pay her and my sister's fare to California. So, and I know my mother had written to my grandparents, consulting, and also my mother thought maybe educationally better if she moved to California. So they moved, and the doctor lived in San Marino, so they worked for the family for a year in San Marino. And my sister went to school there, and she was the only non-white there. And in fact, at that time, my sister was saying, non-resident had to leave the San Marino before sunset. So it was, very exclusive area. But So after the year term was over, they moved to Los Angeles, and they lived in apartment, I think around Second and in Boyle Heights. Yeah. Third, second, and that's Pennsylvania, that area, Chicago, Pennsylvania.
So while she was here, you were trying to get to Hawaii,
Right. Yeah.
and you
yeah.
didn't come at the same time.
So no, not at the same time. So they've, so after they moved to Boyle Heights area, and then, second apartment. I guess they were living in a very small apartment. So I was coming, so they moved to another apartment where it was a back house where there were actual one bedroom there. So that's where I came. And she, during that time, she was working at old Japanese hospital right in Boyle Heights.
Now, when you arrived in Los Angeles, how much English did you speak?
None. Maybe thank you. No.
So when you started to attend school, how did that go? What grade did they place you in?
I went to 5th grade, and so my sister was my coach. She was my instructor. So she would take me and introduce me to, friends. So she tells me, okay, you say hi. That's the way you could. So nice to meet you. Or she would tell me what to say. So hi. So she said not hi, hi. So she was my instructor, my teacher, and so everything she taught me. And then at school too, students would take time to teach me, word by word, things like that.
And you said they put you in 5th grade, but you were supposed to be in 6th grade?
6th grade.
Now, you have this unique experience of going to a private school, White Memorial Union School. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yes. Well, my sister was already there, so it's a Seventh-day Adventist elementary school, and a very small class, and I guess my sister was also went to mission school in Hawaii. I know a lot of my friends who first came from Japan. They all went to that Hawaii mission, which is Seventh-day Adventist, and I think they have much more closer contact of teaching English. So anyway, we were. I went to White Memorial private school, and my mother was working, but there was some church member that had helped, like giving scholarship or support, that supported us going through there. And but it was small classes. The teachers and the students were very understanding, and explain things that. So I was able to understand and hear in about a year, and speaking and writing, probably still need to learn, but communicating, it takes more time, but listening.
So you weren't teased?
No, well, I was, certain accent, I was teased, but that didn't shy me. I figured, okay, if I was teased, next time I can use the proper, word or proper pronunciation. So,
Were there a lot of Japanese or Okinawan Seventh-day Adventist members?
In Okinawa, yes. Here are some, but they had a church in Okinawa, mission, Seventh-day Adventist church. See, their main thing is healthcare. They're very strong in healthcare, and of course, diet and things like that. So in Okinawa too, right now they have a big hospital there. They gear to, and so my grandmother in Okinawa became Seventh-day Adventist. So that's how. So we went to church. She would be going. Of course, my grandfather was more into philosophical ideas, so he never wanted to belong to any church. But he had. But yes, White Memorial Elementary School party was, helped me a lot. So.
Did you go to church with your mother?
Yes. Well, my mother worked at night, so was my sister and I would go with the neighbor that would take us to church. Yeah.
Now, you transferred later to Hollenbeck Junior High School, which is a public school.
Public school.
Why did you do that?
Well, to go to junior high school and same school was you had to travel to Linwood, and we had no way of going. Plus, I wanted to skip 1 year to be with my age group. And Hollenbeck, I was babysitting for this doctor's children, and I was telling her about this. So she said, "Oh, I'll help you." And so she called school, and she told school, and school said, "Okay, if the grade and this and that meet, we'll do that." So she said, "Yeah, I talked to them, so go and see if you can fit in." So anyway, I was able to get into eighth or ninth grade there. So
Just your age group.
Right. So that was.
And then from Hollenbeck, you went to Roosevelt High. Now, in Roosevelt, you had a best friend you made a best friend from Tokyo.
Yeah, from Tokyo.
Can you share with us how she reacted when she found out you're from Okinawa?
Yeah, she was shocked. She said, "Yeah, we're talking," and she said she always talked about she's from Tokyo, and she said she grew up in Karuizawa, which is a very exclusive resort area and all that. So I said, "Oh, I'm from Okinawa." She said, "Okinawa." She said, "I didn't know you spoke Japanese." I said, "We're Japanese." So she was very shocked. She said, "Oh, is that how Okinawan look? And is that how?" So at that time, yeah, I guess a lot of young people in Japanese thought Okinawa was some foreign country. In fact, they had to have a passport to go to Okinawa and Okinawa to Japan. So maybe that's another reason.
So her reaction, you could say, was very typical of a Japanese person.
I guess so, because I didn't, but it was surprising to me that she reacted that way. Because in elementary school, I did have friends from Japan, but they were from Osaka or some other prefecture. But she was from Tokyo, so she, I don't know if they were more not into inaka or something, but that was, shocking to me, but shocking to her.
In high school, you also met a lot of sanseis who were born all over the United States, like Arkansas. What did you think about this?
I was kind of surprised. I didn't know what that meant, because I guess all my age, they were all born in camp. So they said, "Oh, they're born Arizona, they're born Arkansas, they're born." So I said, why all over the place? Then much later that they said, "Oh, they're born in camp," and I didn't know what that meant either. So, to me, was it like those refugee camp like we had? But it was much later that I heard, learned about camp and how the Japanese were all being put in there. So that was really a learning experience. But yeah, we had at that time Roosevelt had a lot of Japanese, so a lot of Sansei kids that I grew up with. So I had a normal high school, junior high, high school life as regular Sanseis. Yeah.
Now, as somebody from Okinawa, in later you learn more about the camps, and the more you learn about the camps, what did you think about what the United States government did to Japanese people here?
I really, wonder if that was really necessary, because they were, American. Most of them didn't even know Japanese, right? And they don't know why they were doing. And I really think that was, well, shameful for U.S. government to just. I mean, can you imagine if we did that now? But, as Japanese, more obedient. If they were told, you do this, they'll follow. And I think that in itself, they just followed what to do. Yeah. So.
Now, I know, your mother worked during the nighttime. She worked at the Japanese hospital. And on the weekends, you helped your mother do cleaning other people's houses.
Yeah, well, we began by babysitting. My mother was doing the house cleaning, housework, ironing. So we would help her with ironing and babysitting, or whatever as a kids that we can help. So it was, all three of us going helping my mother do the extra job that she was doing.
Oh, now, what about your social life? Were you able to have a social life, or were you working all the time?
No, I did have social life during high school. Well, we were in like junior high, high school, church youth group that we would go camping during summertime, things like that. And in high school, of course, my sister and I, we started working after school or weekends. But, it's all during daytime. So nighttime, we can go to dances, parties, things like that. But weeknights, too, we worked at library three times a week. So anything to, help, because that was our, whatever spending money we needed, we had to work for it. So.
Now, you mentioned you went to parties, dance parties. Did you ever feel discriminated at any of these parties because you were Okinawa?
No, I mean, well, my school friends, Sansei friends, they don't know any difference. But then Japanese group friends from Japan, they would have dances that I would go. But one time, this was only once that I had experienced, was that this guy that, he asked me to dance a couple of times, and then I guess around time he asked me where I was from. I said Okinawa. He said, oh, and he kind of had and that was it. So I thought, what is that? So I never saw him or talked to him again. So that was the only thing. I don't know what part of Japan he was from, but definitely not from Okinawa. But that was the only reaction that.
Now, what year did you graduate from Roosevelt High?
61.